So I've had a 2-week break away from wrestling. I feel recharged. I feel rejuvenated. I'm ready to review Payback. Are you, NJ?
Yep.
I can tell you are. We kicked off this show with Sheamus versus Sandow.
Yeah.
Do you like what I did there?
Yeah.
But the crowd didn't really like Sheamus, though, did they? I think this shows how badly WWE have done with this, what I felt could have been a good talent for the company as a babyface.
This was a big chance for, yes, Sandow's not been built up to be believable to beat Sheamus, but didn't happen.
No, and Sheamus wins, and we all kind of predicted it as well. It's funny, though, how WWE gives a lot of TV time to what is essentially a pre-show match that people can see for free. Just saying. So we opened up this pay-per-view officially with Wade Barrett versus The Miz versus Curtis Axel for the Intercontinental Championship. This was a pretty good opener, I felt. It was better than expected. I liked the finish as well, with Miz putting the figure 4 on Barrett and Axel pinning Barrett before Barrett actually tapped. I thought that was a nice finish, especially new Intercontinental Champion, Curtis Axel. What a night.
My thing about this match is that, yes, every member of the match got their part, but at the end it was focusing on Miz looking good and Curtis Axel taking advantage of Miz's move. So I thought it was a pretty clever finish. I'm just hoping they've got a reason to be taking the championship off Barrett.
Yeah, I don't think Barrett was really going anywhere with the belt anyway, so I think this is a good title switch to a guy like Curtis Axel, who's been in main events on Raw, who's faced John Cena, who's faced Triple H, who's faced Chris Jericho, etc. And I felt it was also quite good how also it's Father's Day as well, and his father won the same belt, I believe, 23 years ago, and his father passed away, etc. And he looked up, and I thought that was a nice moment signifying Father's Day, and a nice way to cap off the night for Curtis Axel.
They definitely took advantage of Father's Day to give the right person the championship, but my thing about this is predicting this match, it was obviously going to be given to Curtis because you don't want him to be pinned by other people who are not main eventers, and he's a new guy coming in that they want to push. It kind of favoured Curtis Axel.
Yeah, you can't afford to have him lose here, really, so he kind of had to win the IC belt. Caitlyn versus AJ Lee for the Divas Championship. For once, the Divas match wasn't the piss break. This actually had a little bit of story behind it, actually had a bit of build. It was a pretty good Divas match, I felt. A lot better than your general Divas match. Actually went and told a story. I was actually kind of getting into the match at some point. AJ makes Caitlyn tap out. I thought it was a pretty good Divas match, I thought.
My thing about this, it took 2 submissions to beat Caitlyn, because Caitlyn managed to escape the first one, but tap out with the second. But the thing I want to say about this is that I am liking AJ getting built up to be seen as a diva more than just a psycho. But it still seems to me that she's only got really one move in her moveset that stands out, which is a submission. Everything else is taking advantage of other divas' moves.
And where do you see Caitlyn going after sort of just crying and having a breakdown? I think this is just storyline continuation. To be honest, I hope they have another match.
My tweet about this was last diva who broke down and cried ended up leaving, but maybe they're going to do something different with Caitlyn, and this is going to make Caitlyn want to get Payback, which is now gone, against AJ.
Probably at Money in the Bank. If there was a Wyatt family promo segment, and if you want to see more of Bray Wyatt and everything like NXT, tune in this Saturday because Mr. Parkin will be uploading his NXT review. So look forward to that one.
I'm loving these commercials of Bray and Wyatt and the Wyatt family coming in. They're expected to keep it being a growing family, and I'm hoping when they come in, yes, it's most likely going to be against the Shield, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm
hoping to create an NXT family when I get that review up, NJ. Kane versus Dean Ambrose for the US Championship. I don't know about you. This match to me just was kind of meh. They never really got out of first gear, never really properly clicked. I don't know. The match ended in a count out. This match just never really clicked, in my opinion.
Well, my thing about this match is this match did basically just kind of nowhere. Like, Vicky put Daniel Bryan and Orton in a match. Kane, we've not forgotten about you. We're going to put you against the other Shield member. So it made sense for that reason, but there was no proper build for the US Championship. And plus, the finish does maybe possibly be a rematch where there's actually going to be a pinfall somewhere down the line.
Yeah, let's hope we get more of a build-up to the next US Championship match. We had a video package for RVD. This was kind of a surprise. Apparently, he's going to be returning at Money in the Bank. I do wonder what he'll do if he's going to come in to maybe help the mid-card in WWE, maybe put over some new faces, even though his nickname is No Job Rob. then I will be fine with this. But if he's going to be coming in and be splurted as a main event guy, then I'm sorry, I'm not for this.
Well, the crowd was definitely behind Rob Van Dam throughout the night. It was like they want Rob Van Dam to be out of TNA and now in the WWE. My problem with this is that when it comes to Rob Van Dam, I picture him being the main eventer instead of being in a place where he can benefit helping other guys out.
Which he didn't really do in TNA either, so there we go. I do wonder what he'll do. Let us know in the comments section what you think RVD will do at Money in the Bank. Will he be in the Money in the Bank ladder match? Will he face Dolph Ziggler? Who really knows? Alberto Del Rio versus Dolph Ziggler for the World Heavyweight Championship. This I didn't really care about going in, but once I saw how this match was going with the double turn, I started to get a lot more interest in it. You had ADR was being very aggressive, kind of like a heel aggressive, and they were really making Dolph seem like the babyface with the concussion and the kind of like, I don't want any help, the kind of never say die attitude. And, I got more interested in this as it went on because I was thinking, what's going to happen here? Who's the heel? Who's the babyface? The crowd were going nuts for Dolph Ziggler, and it just feels to me like they're turning Del Rio heel a little bit, and now they're turning Ziggler face a little bit.
Well, going into this match, I really didn't have much faith in Ziggler. Yes, to the concussion came back, but they gave him a Raw and a SmackDown to do something, and they put him into a match. He didn't actually be the highlight of the match. And then the pay-per-view happened, and yes, he had his chance to show that I can do this, I can do this, to get fans behind him and show that he's a fighter. But then it all came down to him, the concussion getting the best of him. And
the concussion angle was the focus here. You had Del Rio focusing his attacks mainly on Dolph Ziggler's head, and that gets him the victory. Now, I'm sure a lot of people in the YWC and on the internet will say, oh yeah, Dolph Ziggler didn't get a fair shot and he lost. But come on, guys. I will be okay with this, and I'm sure you will be too, if this is going to be an engine to turn Dolph Ziggler babyface, and if it did, it sure as hell worked here in Chicago. They were booing Del Rio, as you kind of probably expected.
And the thing about Ziggler is, he is one of the characters like The Miz you could see as a face. He just needs to branch away from AJ. But before we clear away from this, Alberto did cut a promo at the end of the match, and he was trying to sound like a heel, like the new champ, the world champ, and all this was going on. I had my fingers crossed because we all know on Raw we're having the return of Mark Henry.
Indeed, and SmackDown should be interesting as well. Yay, let's go SmackDown, people. Chris Jericho versus CM Punk. I think this is the match that a lot of people were going to be interested in, even though, in my opinion, it was something that we already knew was who was the best in the world. We already knew was best in the world. CM Punk had already beaten Chris Jericho twice. So in my opinion, it was kind of like, I was kind of interested in it to see what they were going to do with CM Punk, and I was really, really excited to see CM Punk return in his hometown. But on the other hand, I was like, this is kind of pointless.
Well, the thing about this is that, yes, in my opinion, Jericho still needs the big pay-per-view win. And I said early on in the match, the fact the crowd were really behind Punk and it weren't 50-50, if Jericho was to beat him, that would probably put Jericho more on the heel side and Punk more over.
And this match, we knew was going to be a good match, and it was a good match. I'm not going to deny it. It was probably a very good match. I'm sure a lot of you out there are probably giving it 4.5 stars, or whatever you want to give it on the rating system. CM Punk wins with 2 GTSs. Not surprised really to see CM Punk win here. I guess to me, it's not really about the match, as we kind of knew it was going to be good. I'm just interested now to see what direction they're going to go with CM Punk. It seems like, obviously, coming back to Chicago, he would be a babyface, and he was massively over here, and Jericho was getting booed quite a lot. I don't think CM Punk can be heel, though. I think now they've turned Ryback heel. I don't think for 1 second CM Punk can be heel with just how over he is when he comes back to Raw.
Well, with these possible face turns we're getting from tonight, they're going to have to move away from their managers, like Ziggler and AJ, Punk and Heyman. But the way that Punk was going, the crowd behind him, yes, the crowd could be different in other places.
It will be.
But I still think CM Punk, yes, it's turning him back to face again, but I think CM Punk could do with being a face again.
Indeed, so do I, as he is massively over. I'm looking forward to seeing what CM Punk does, and you can find out what CM Punk will do on NJ's Raw review tomorrow night. The Shield versus Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton. The odd tag team. I had no idea going into it, because I watched WWE for 2 weeks, why Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton were a tag team, but there we go. you know, if anyone was going to follow CM Punk, it was probably going to be Daniel Bryan, who is way over. But this did kind of suffer from the fact that it was after the Jericho Punk match when the crowd was kind of a little bit burnt. I didn't think it was okay, but we'd seen better matches from The Shield and Daniel Bryan involving those on free TV, in my opinion, on many occasions.
I think going into this match, yes, the WWE have been concentrating a lot on Bryan recently because they're going to be forwarding on to bigger matches. But because of the commercial, the build-up to this, I was expecting a lot more from Orton. They teased the accidental attacks and stuff, but again, it just felt like the last 2 weeks, which was all about Bryan.
Yeah, I guess to me, this match, my one interest going into this match wasn't necessarily the match itself, but it was, is Daniel Bryan or Randy Orton going to turn heel? And we didn't get any heel turns here or anything, but I do wonder, with Daniel Bryan being so over, will WWE turn him heel just to have him go after John Cena? Will they turn Randy Orton heel, which I feel is a necessary turn, in my opinion? Even though they didn't do it at the pay-per-view, I'm just interested, especially going into SmackDown, what they're actually going to do with both Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton's characters, because we didn't really get too many answers here. We just got some teasers.
Well, the way it was going, or the way I personally do it, which I'm hoping they do, Orton needs to go back to a heel for his personal reasons and for the fact that he can go off and be a heel again. And Daniel Bryan, he's so over as a face, so to keep him away from being a face and put him as a heel just for Cena's benefit or whoever goes on to face next, I'd personally do a face as Bryan versus a heel Orton.
Yeah, at some point, maybe they could do that on Money in the Bank. Oh, by the way, Shield won. Speaking of sending heels, speaking of turning someone heel and sending them after a babyface, John Cena versus Ryback in a 3 stages of hell match for the WWE Championship. A lumberjack match, a tables match, and an ambulance match. You know, that's a pretty, out of all the 3 stages of hell match, this is probably the most oddest lineup we've ever had, really, in a 3 stages of hell match, isn't it? The lumberjack match, Cena jumped on the crowd, which I thought was a pretty cool spot. Jumped on the lumberjacks, that is, not the actual crowd. And Ryback gets the win with a shell shot. We can't really be too surprised. I think going into this, we all knew that Ryback was going to win the first fall, and then John Cena was going to come and win the next 2 falls. And that's pretty much how it went down. And we kind of knew how it would be.
The lumberjack got some involvement, but not really enough to be really counted as a lumberjack. The tables match, it had a few good spots, but obviously Cena coming back and just doing that. And then the ambulance match, yes, they took advantage of the ambulance, but the finish.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much typical John Cena. We've seen this many times now. This main event it wasn't bad. I wouldn't say it was bad. The crowd didn't seem all that into it, probably because they were all for CM Punk and not really for this as the main event. But it's just the lumberjack match, the tables match, the ambulance match, none of them really got enough time to really be a good match, to make this match overall a good match, in my opinion. That's just what I'm saying. So an okay main event, in my opinion, but nothing outstanding. As I heard a news report that WWE wanted to make this like a special match for John Cena. And I guess the finish was kind of special with Cena AAing Ryback through the ambulance, but nothing special here that's really going to be noteworthy or memorable in the future.
2 things about this. The finish reminded me a bit of either the Kane finish that he had against Kane, or when he did that to Batista, taking him off.
Yep.
So to me, I think the finish was that special. And the other thing that we were discussing after it was, now we've had Ryback lose yet another pay-per-view match and his shot to go for the WWE Championship. What the hell is he going to do now?
He's still on, I believe, a year-long pay-per-view no-win streak since Money in the Bank last year. I do wonder, you turn this guy heel to send him after Cena to lose after 2 pay-per-view matches. Where are they going with Ryback's character right now? I think this says more than ever that this was just a quick fix to get John Cena a new character, and we'll think about the consequences later, because the Ryback character right now just isn't in a position where, he's just lost his feud to John Cena. I mean, what are they going to do with the Ryback character now? I really don't know.
And the thing about this feud is that Cena's gone through so many wrestlers, came out on top on so many wrestlers, and that's now left Ryback, who could have either won the championship here. I just felt that the WWE are not doing Ryback their next top main eventer any favours.
It's very true. It's a very good point. But overall, even though the main event didn't really deliver all that much, I thought this was a solid pay-per-view. It wasn't like a fantastic pay-per-view. I mean, we had a good opener. We had a better than usual Divas match. Jericho and Punk was pretty good in my opinion. So there was some good aspects of this pay-per-view. There was also some bad aspects of this pay-per-view, such as the main event. But overall, I felt this was a solid pay-per-view. And maybe that's just because I've been away for 2 weeks and I'm feeling refreshed. And this is the first time I've watched WWE for a while. But you know, that's how I felt. How did you feel about this pay-per-view?
Take away the main event because I don't think the main event went down the way it should do, even though WWE favours Cena. But the rest of the card, I think they did brilliantly with new champions, the right champions, and they did favours for the rest they want to be pushing after this pay-per-view.
And we had some title changes as well, which was pretty good. So leave us your thoughts and comments on this, and indeed your opinions on this Payback pay-per-view with us, the British Fist,
Catching.
Mr. Parkin here, and NJ here.
What's up?
Make sure you tune into NJ's Raw review tomorrow night, and make sure you tune into my SmackDown review on Friday night, as well as the NXT review as part of the new schedule going forward. Thank you very much for watching this video if you have, and goodbye.